right? So this was the sample questions for the speaking set that they gave. So it says the booklet 1. So how does speaking actually happen? So when you register yourself, if you are a class teacher from MUET, you can actually register the students according to the their own speaking groups. So it does not need to follow alphabetical order. So again, if you're a teacher, please register them according to their favorite speaking groups, as opposed to name list, because in the name list they might not be able to cooperate well with each other, and they may not have practiced well with each other as well. So every day there will be 20 people in the first session. So that would be booklet 1. So these 20 students will be quarantined, and there will be 5 groups of 4 students each. Each group would have A, B, C, D. And when they enter, they will have 2 examiners, and you will actually see the examiners checking the IC, checking the MET slips, and then opening the question and letting you guys speak. Now, the examiners are not allowed to converse anymore with the candidates. All right. So in the past, I used to ask them questions, I used to give them tips, I used to help them with pronunciation, but all of that is not allowed anymore. Okay. So then you go down here. This year, candidate A, you have 2 minutes to prepare and 2 minutes to talk. So everybody has only 2 minutes to prepare. But the advantage goes to the last person, because while candidate A and then B and then C are speaking, he technically has an additional 6 minutes to prepare in his head. He's not allowed to write anything. All pens or pencils are put down the minute the first 2 minutes are over, and you have to concentrate on what your friends are saying. So now you're not allowed to write any notes while your friends are presenting. So this is fairer in a sense, because in the past, candidate D will have more time to write more notes, you see. So now everybody stops at 2 minutes flat, and then candidate A starts to speak. So the situation is, it is important to be healthy. Suggest some ways to keep healthy, which is very simple, basic information. Okay. So now you know that task A looks deceivingly easy, because the content should not be very unfamiliar. Basically, it should be familiar because it is set at A2 and B1 level. All right. You have to give a presentation to your class. Please do not say presentation. Okay, the correct pronunciation is presentation. Well, it is actually the third stress, presentation. All right. I can't stand it when teachers also say presentation, presentation. Oh my God, drives me crazy. Talk about the importance of what and when people eat. So basically, you only focus on this, what and when people eat. You can even have it in 2 points as well. Say very good morning. Say that you're going to talk about ways to keep healthy, which includes the importance of what and when people eat. And then you say, firstly, let's talk about the importance of what we eat. What we put in our mouth will determine our general health. Because if we eat food that is too fattening, we will end up with a lot of cardio problems. You might even get heart attacks, or you could have serious obesity. So then you talk about what, all right, by giving real examples. Okay, so fried chicken, deep fried foods like chakori. You can actually use Malay words or Chinese words, as long as there is no equivalent. You can use gotong royong, but it's better to say clean up. But you can use nasi lemak as opposed to saying fatty rice, because there's no real translation for nasi lemak. Okay. So the second part, you would say when people eat, and you would focus on things like Malaysians eat almost 24 hours a day, because there are so many eateries like the mamak stalls that are open 24 hours, so that it caters to people who are awake at all hours of the day, because maybe they can only eat when they finish their shift, and some people work during shift. Okay, so you get the point. The point is, although I train my students to have 3 points, right? Still, it depends on the question itself. So in this question itself, you should have introduction, you should have importance of what people eat, and then when people eat as the second point, with good elaboration and concrete examples. So when I say concrete examples, I don't just say they eat 24 hours a day. I would actually say they may eat from 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock in the morning if they have just finished their shift work, either if they worked in a hospital or even any other job where everybody works on a shift or rotation basis. Okay, and then you have a conclusion. So 2 minutes will go by very, very, very fast for you to prepare, so you can only write note form, and 2 minutes more will be going by extremely fast, especially if you are well prepared. Okay, so let's look at candidate B. We'll skip this one first. We'll look at candidate B. Okay, talk about the importance of exercise. All right, so here you would have introduction, the first importance with explanation and examples, the second importance, explanations and examples, and then the third importance with explanation and example. And if you can squeeze it in, you should have a conclusion as well. Right. So it looks very easy, the importance of exercise. Yeah. So just make sure that you're able to present it well. The next one is, 1 second. Okay. So the next one is, can you guess? The next one is the importance of seeing the doctor regularly. Now, most of the students would have a very hard time talking 2 minutes about seeing the doctor regularly, because the tradition in Malaysia is that you only see the doctor when you're going to die. So this culture of seeing the doctor regularly is not something often practiced in Malaysia, but you are supposed to talk about the importance. So you need to say that this is very important. We must see the doctor regularly. And then you give us 3 solid reasons with concrete examples why you need to see the doctor regularly. The first one is that prevention is better than cure. So if you can put in a proverb, you will instantly jump in terms of bonus marks. Okay? Prevention is better than cure. A healthy body is a healthy mind. What else? An apple a day keeps the doctor away. So you throw in proverbs to show that you are really, really fluent in the language, and you have really concrete examples. For example, if somebody complains of a stomachache all the time and they never see the doctor regularly, and they wait and wait and wait until they have a very, very painful episode, and they end up in the hospital emergency because maybe they've got a very terrible ulcer in the stomach. See, that's a concrete example, a real name of a disease. Ulcer in the stomach, or they could have appendicitis. Appendicitis is also another concrete example. Yeah. So you need to have real words, yeah, real terms, and real names of people and places. This is what I mean by concrete examples. Okay, let's go to candidate D. Candidate D. So as I talk about the importance of getting enough rest. All right. So another thing that Malaysians seem to lack these days is quality sleep. Why? Because they are addicted to their handphones, mobile phones. What do they do on their mobile phones? They do gaming addiction. Yeah, they have screening or streaming addiction, which means they watch Korean dramas 24 hours a day, and then they have, lack of sleep, a lack of everything. So that is called streaming addiction. And then it affects their job performance or their school performance, because once they cannot perform well in school, then their results will fall, isn't it? So that's why it is very important to get enough rest. Otherwise, you will not have a very healthy lifestyle. Okay, so what are the words that you can throw in? If you can't find a proverb, maybe you can throw in a colloquialism. What is colloquialism? It says, don't be a couch potato. Yeah, couch potato is a person who just sits in front of TV all day, right? What else? Don't live a sedentary lifestyle. Yeah, uh, get up and go. Okay, get up and go is a nice phrasing or saying. It means that we must actually have enough exercise after we have rested. Yeah, okay. So let's look at candidate ABCD, 2 minutes talk. Okay, everybody, thumbs up if you understand and if you feel confident that you can talk for 2 minutes.